Hello and welcome to Flory Models Daily Vlog. We're just making sure, sorry, new system, nice flash keyboard and everything else. Welcome to the Daily Vlog. Here we are on Friday the 22nd of April 2016, and today, to be honest, I've been really busy. Not only have I been yapping with Steve to make sure that the live show works properly tomorrow morning, hopefully fingers crossed we've got it all sorted now, but I've been literally talking to you guys about paint all week, but today specifically on about some of the problems you can have when you're setting up your airbrush, for instance, and painting with it. So it's a long video. I've tried to cover as much as I possibly can of fixing the reasons that maybe your airbrush won't run nicely, as in stop starts and everything else like that. And through talking to you guys, having guys here and all things like that, I tend to find around about 70 to 90% of all problems with paint flow through an airbrush comes down to mixing of the paint. Now, for instance, I am a nightmare. I am the worst person to preach about this because I don't do it myself. It's something that I'm trying to really, get a grip with and say, right, let's just take our time instead of rushing everything like I normally run around like my head cut off, but let's get the paint mixed up. Let's do it in separate little containers. Let's do it in little beakers, making sure the paint looks good in here before it even goes anywhere near an airbrush, making sure your airbrush is clean. That way we should stop 95% of all the problems we have with airbrushing by making sure clean airbrush, good paint mix, and we go through. So we talk about it at length, and not only do we talk about obviously mixing up paint and everything else like that, but I have a little video down here which I think is shift 9, okay, and what you can actually see down here is the paint, and this is a typical bottle of my paint, as you can see down here, that's crusty as hell and got bits in it. It's these bits that are going to end up going into your paint, okay, and it goes into your paint. What it does is go down to your airbrush, and when it's down in your airbrush, this is what stops starting your airbrush and all those bits and pieces. So this bit here, I'm talking about how terrible it really is, and how those crusty bits are really going to affect your airbrush, affect your paint flow and everything else, okay, and how that I should, as I showed in the previous little clip on this video, clean up your actual bottle before you actually finish it. So once you've done with it, give it a wipe off, make sure it's all nice and clean and everything else. That way you don't end up with this problem, and then because you've got this problem, it is just going to be one of those things that's going to carry on time after time after time, and as I say, once those bits get in your paint, then the next time you do it, those thicker bits which are never going to soften totally, they're never going to be as smooth as normal paint, they're going to get into your airbrush, down to your nozzle, down to that little tiny bit that does all the work, and the atomization just isn't right, okay? By spending 2 seconds wiping off the bottle between obviously decanting it and all the rest of it can save that. Or the other things you can do, I don't know what I've done with them down here, using pipettes to get them out of the actual bottle. These things are dirt cheap. You can pick them up for like 100 for a couple of quid off of eBay or Amazon or something else like that. They are cheap disposable things, and at the end of the day, again, the cost of one of these for the amount of time you spend trying to get your airbrush running right and all the rest of it is, immaterial, really. You can go out and buy things like AK, the small ones, but to be honest, I wouldn't buy these. I was given these by AK because, quite frankly, they're too small, and secondly, again, they're so disposable. It's a very expensive way of doing it. Get yourself on eBay and grab yourself some of them, and you can save a fortune. Then we talk about, obviously, colour mixing, airbrushing, keeping things clean, and everything else like that. And as I say, we talk about, paint, the cost of your paint, everything else that no one seems to care about, but I've worked out I've got £1,000 worth of paint in here, and all things like that. But we talk about different branding and all those things that go with it, cleaning it out, and then we look at brushes. So we got basically some cheap brushes. Then these aren't expensive ones and all the rest of it. They're sort of mid-price ones. We've got some red sable ones here, and we've got some synthetic ones. To be honest, this is just the creative range which I've got hold of, and we've got some sets and things like that. And we talk about using brushes and painting, and how that acrylic paints can be a real pain to hand paint, but a little bit of thinner, a little bit of Vallejo airbrush thinner, because it's got retarders in it and things like that, can actually slow down the drying time, which means it's got time to self-level, which means no more nasty drag marks like you get with standard acrylic. So I show about actually hand painting XF66 down in there and everything else like that. So really it's just one of those things that, again, a few moments learning it, finding out how it works, and then can save you a lot of hassle further down the line. So that's really on the site now. So what it is, as I said, it's about 40-45 minutes. It's very long. It's a lot longer than I ever thought it was going to be, but generally I think it's one of those things which is such a small little tip which could save you a lifetime's worth of hassle and all the rest of it. So from me personally, from now on, slap me if I don't, I am going to be going in, mixing up my paint properly in little cups, beakers. Again, these things, you can buy these ones. These are Rebel ones. They've got all the markings on them for the different measurements, or you can just buy these cheapo plastic disposable shot glasses, do exactly the same thing, and knock up your paint in there. That way you can see it. Again, pouring it neatly into your airbrush, not getting runs of it and dribbles everywhere, so it's going to dry and go crusty and everything else. But generally, that's what we talk about. We talk about cleaning out the airbrush, making sure you get none of the nasty bits which are going to dry in your airbrush and everything else like that down into your business end of your airbrush, which then cause you all types of problems. So a lot of this is generally good management. And it's good practice to go through it. But as I said, I am a nightmare. I don't do it myself, but I really am going to think, right, okay, from now on, I'm going to do it. I might even start taking my airbrushes apart when I'm not using them. Probably not, but at least I might take the needle, pull it somewhat back so it's not in the business end, because I am finding my needles are jamming for some reason quite a lot on the Teflon seals with H&S airbrushes. The first time I've had the problem, but just recently I've had a few times where I've come to my airbrush, I thought it's been clean, I've gone to like literally just test it, the needles jam, so I have to take the back off, knock it through, make sure it's okay and everything else. As I said, it may be that my Teflon seals are wearing out or something's going on in there, but again, these are usually well looked after. I do tend to lube them up. We've got the old super lube, which I always keep to hand here. And I always do the needles and make sure everything's nice and smooth and running well with them. But as I said, I've just come into them and I'm finding it's happening a lot. Yeah, I grab my other airbrushes, other brands that I've got down there, don't have the problem. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. I might do a little bit of looking at that next week. Me and Steve are going to be live in the morning, so if you would love to join us, we'd love to have you with us. We're going to be live on YouTube 9 o'clock till 11. Can't go much more than 11 because I must admit I'm out in the afternoon. But as I say, join us where we're going to be carrying on with our dolphins, which we've got here, which to be honest, tonight I've got to do a little bit of work on this because Steve's ahead of me and he's done things to his and everything else, so he's ready for paint in the morning where I'm nowhere near it. So as I say, I'm going to have to push through, get that finished and get it up to standard so we're both in the same place for tomorrow. But if you'd like to join us, obviously shoot any questions you want direct to us. We're still not 100% how the Skype thing's all working. I know I've got everyone lined up who wants to come on with us and everything else like that, but you have to imagine we only need one cough and we lose everything, and it's a massive problem. So we might just do a little bit more testing and everything else first, but please by all means comment, ask questions as we're live on air and everything else like that, usual thing in the forum, and we'll answer them as we make our way through for a couple of hours. So grab yourself a coffee and a bacon butty and everything else, and please come along and join us. So now we're going to pop over to the forum and have a look, and I can't remember what my hotkey for that particular one is. I think it must be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so it should go something like that. Okay, so if I just pop round here, hopefully you can still hear me. Alright, so here we are over in the forum. Usual things we've got going on. Just want to quickly recap just down on here with the group builds and all those things. So you've still got quite a bit of time. We've got 19th of June for It Must Be an Animal group build. Not many coming through. Normally by this point we've got them piling through. Got 266 entries down into there, but we only got 65 finished. Now I don't want to start pressurising everybody, but you know, June isn't a million miles away, so you might want to start making your way through, guys. Don't forget medals and stickers, and I think we're doing sander sets are going to be this year's or this group builds thing. It might not be sticker sets because you had those last time, so what I'm probably going to do is like a skinny set for everybody, which is the FMS 012 set. So well worth doing, because obviously it's worth a fiver, as well as your medal and all your other bits like that. We got the tank one is obviously pushing through quite nicely as well. So we've got the World War One Dawn of a New Age on the battlefield, so that's a SIG, so there's no medals and prizes for that one, but certainly you've only got till the 28th of May. 33, 16 on the go. We know it's a limited one, but we have got some really nice work in there and something we'll be looking at in a couple of weeks. Seeing double, this is obviously for the you know, the twin cockpit setup and everything else like that. So we've got 46 on the go and 6 finished, and you've got the 26th of June to run with that one. And also, whilst we're down here, as you can see, if you want to pop down and have a look at any of the group builds we've done for a long time, 2009, in fact the other ones are then archived right the way down I think to 2006 down there, of all our group builds and everything else. You can see everybody's great work down in there. So anyway, to this week's gallery section, to be honest, Lenny only finished this one today. He's done a great job. This is the Revell 132nd Spitfire. Now we know this kit is very basic in its thing, we know the decals are horrible and all the rest of it, but he has produced a lovely bit of work on here fantastic job on the weathering, faded it nicely back. Nice way that he's done the weathering with different sort of mud tones and things like that in there, as well as your standard type of grindy things as well. So again, very nice and clean, lovely paint finish on that as well. And as you can see, nice little bit of detail on the inside right the way through. And again, I know he's done it in a little light tent here, but it's nice to see a very nice cleanly lit, very well photographed model as well. And again, I'll give him a little shout out because he does do a good job on it. If you want to see Lenny actually build this one, he has got his Facebook channel as well, so if you want to have a look at that, he's got the videos of him building that one on there. And sorry Lenny, just off the top of my head I can't remember the name of it, okay, but if you shout Lenny a thing, I'm sure he'll poke you in the right direction. Next up, funny enough, it's funny you mentioned that. I don't know if you saw behind me when I was over in the other bit of the studio, I've got in the AK series of 109s and Spitfires, which amazingly look extremely like these kits. So I'm thinking they're a Reeboks, people. So before you rush out and buy them, you could save yourself a tenner and buy the Profi pack and probably get more selection of decals in there. Anyway, the review of that will be up next week. So this is the Eddard 1/48 scale Profi pack 109G. Is it the G6? Yes, G6. Great job on this one. Some nice little photos on the way through here as well, showing how he did it all. Okay, right the way through, as you can see, doing all the bits on there and the weathering, and that's how he ended up. Beautiful, nice little aircraft, very nice, cleanly built, right the way through. Love the figure. It's very nice seeing the figure with him coming out of the actual aircraft like that. That's very nice. Again, fantastic work on that one. And we've got Adam. Adam, I must admit, Adam makes me nervous because I'm just about to start my Osprey, hopefully the week after next. And mine, I'm only doing the 72nd one, but it's always a nightmare when somebody does a really good job. This isn't a straightforward kit in 48. It's the old one, it's pre-production, there's lots of problems with it and everything else, but he's done an amazing job on it. And not only has he done an amazing job, and this is where we're going to get in trouble, as you can see, he's also fully lit and motorized this thing as well. Beautiful little diorama base, okay, including, we can see the tiny wire there. Okay, so this is powered from the ground. He's got a great little thing, and I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get in for this, but hell, you only live once. Alright, I'm not sure if we're going to get in massive trouble. I better mute it, that way we can get away with it. But he has actually got it done. So as you can see, he has got lights on it, internal lights. You have to be careful when you stick the camera in there. Many a time I've done things like that and hit the blades. Okay, but as you can see, it is all working, it's lit, okay, right the way through, and everything else like that. I'll stop that purely because I don't want to get in trouble and get a copyright strike against me, okay. But as you can see, really nice with the internal lights, internal cockpit, very nicely done with the crew in there and the guys on the deck as well. So fantastic job on that, no pressure, eh? Rick, now Rick, I must admit, this is one of those ones I was watching and it was absolutely fantastic to see this come, because I've always said I'd love to do this particular type of aircraft in 1/35 scale. And I have never really thought about the Skunk Works one because it's going to be clunky and a bit finicky. And then he's come along and done a stunning job on this, and it makes me want to run out tomorrow and do one. Again, I love the weathering on it, I love the way it seems to fit. These aircraft are always kept quite clean and nice, but when they're in the field, because of their job and everything else like that, they get dirty extremely quickly, and that's what I love about this one. Very, very nice. Nice to be folded up and everything else like that. Got the doors open so we can see a bit in there, and he's done things like little things down here like the basket, so he's got the rescue basket done as well, which you can see inside, but it's nice that he's done a separate thing for it. But I really do love the Jayhawk. It's one of my favourite aircraft, and I would love to do it in 1/35th, but because nobody's done one, I might have to run out and do the 48th one instead. So great job on that one. Something a little bit different in the markings, and as I say, just showing that you can take an old kit and really bring it bang up to date. So this is the Italeri version of the actual Typhoon. Obviously Italeri did this kit long before it ever came out and become anything like it is today. So there is some little issues with the kit and everything else, but once you stick a good set of decals on it, beautiful PJ Productions pilot in there, you certainly can forgive any problems this kit might have. Lovely markings with the black right the way over it like that. I must admit, I love the Typhoon with the black on it. I'm not a fan of the red ones, but definitely love it on the black. But he's done a great job on that. Beautiful done. Nice clean photos as well. Some nice metal work around the rear end, and that pilot figure just makes it jump. Fantastic. Something else that really caught my eye this year is this guy. Now this is the Kinetic 1/48 scale F5. Okay, so lovely little markings on this one as well, because it's the Norwegian markings with the metal finish and everything else like that. So as you can see, some nice weathering. It's not easy to weather natural metal finishes, because you just, each one's different, you have different techniques, but because he's done different colors all the way through using AK and sorry, can't remember what he used, with the Alclad and AKs, it really gives it a nice look. Very nice finish right the way over it. And again, he's done it as a worn aircraft, so that's what you're doing with this one. So what I understand, that's absolutely fantastic on that one. Beautiful job, and a nice way of weathering the actual natural metal finish. Next up, I saw this one as well. Gerald had a couple of models in this week, and obviously I could only pick one. The reason I picked out this one is because it's not an easy kit to work with. There's lots of things on this one. So obviously you've got beautiful splinter camo going right the way over it. The engine nacelles typically are a bit of a bad fit. You have to sort of blend them in and sand them in. Getting them all in there isn't easy at all. Then you've got all the masking work, let alone, obviously the decaling and the mottling and everything else. So there's loads of masking on this one. Okay, and you've got the mottling. So he's obviously used the mottling templates right the way over it. But there's a couple of little bits of advice I wanted to give you on this one. First one, when you're using the mottling templates, I would always just give it a mist over very quickly, right the way over, of that darker colour. What it'll do is slightly blend it in. So when we do that bleaching effect and everything else, it will stop these looking quite as sharp as they are. Okay, and then that way everything will sort of soften down and blend in, because when you use any type of mask, especially mottling masks, it's very easy for them to look a bit sort of universal. So actually by coming in and giving this a quick blast over, even freehand randomly, of a thinned version of this darker colour to dirty it in, and it makes it all sort of flow together and in, and stops them sort of sitting on the top, very similar to how you've done just down the back here, okay, and everything else like that. That little bit of overspray up there blends it all together, and that's really what you want to do on it. The second thing I just wanted to mention, and I hate doing it, but silvering, okay, it's one of those things where you can go back to it now and fix it. It's one of those things that you can go back well after your model's done. I've done it when models have been very old, literally 6 months afterwards, even with a flat coat right the way over it, okay? Easiest thing to do on this one, if you've got a riveting wheel, is to run it over it and pierce it like that right the way through, or just make some lines and score it, okay? Every couple of millimeters apart in the same direction. Don't go across, because otherwise you're going to slice it all up, okay? But just go in one direction, and then come in with your favorite setting solution right over, let it wrinkle up, dry back, everything else like that, and then reflat it afterwards, and you'll find that will go, okay? But it's one of those things, it's a nightmare silvering at the best of times, we all hate it, but it is one of those things that can be fixed well after your model's finished, okay? It's not something where you have to that's it, it's on there and it's too late. Go back and you can do it right now and fix the problem. As I say, I've done it lots of times, and I've done it for other people and everything else like that, but generally, as you can see, beautiful work on what is technically a bit of a handful of a model kit. I know you're going to get guys say, oh well, I did it, I had no problem. Trust me, I've built that thing, and it is not an easy kit to put together. Okay, it does have the odd little fit issues, shall we say, especially around with these engines and blending them in and getting them in and everything else like that. But generally, very nice weathering, very nice stuff on there, but I just wanted to bring those two things up. Okay, Des. Now I love this one, love the look of it, it's got a beautiful thing on it. So this is the Dragon 35th scale Saladin. This is the Mark II, completely out of the box, and it's Vallejo and Tamiya paints on it. Oh, and it's got a fantastic wash. Okay, and also it's used the Tamiya weathering master sets on it. Okay. What I love about this one is the way it all sort of blends together. There's nothing that jumps out. The entire thing is very universal all the way over it. From the tyres being nicely weathered, to the hubs, to the way that the actual, we've got the shading work and the bleaching work and everything else working together really nice. But again, it's got enough shine on it to make it look particularly heavy. Okay, and generally right the way over. And we've seen this kit, obviously Steve's done the monster version of it and all the rest of it, but to see it like this as well, it's absolutely fantastic. Really nice job on it all over. You should be very happy with that one, because that is a little cracker. And as I said, something like on a wooden plinth like that just makes it pop out and stand out. So well done on that one. Sorry, wrong way. Okay, this took my eye as well. I do have to say, Sergio did a fantastic job on this one. This is the Tamiya 1/12 scale naked bike. Okay, so we got it down here completely out of the box, but generally I love the heat work on these pipes. Okay, the way the engine's all in there with the gloss finish on the actual paintwork, complete down to the saddle, the instruments, everything. There's nothing on this bike at all that you would ever think, well, that could be done. The lighting, everything is absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice, clean, sharp build. We know these Tamiya bikes are good, but when you do the little thing of putting it all together, you know, and getting it to come out right, it just pops. And this is a classic example of a bike that's been very well done. So well done to you. Something a little bit different, David. He's done this is the 1/24 scale London Taxi, which everyone does black. So he's done it brown. Okay, fantastic. But again, something simple, something just a little bit different that David's done on this one. Again, he's had fun with the build, which is what it's all about, and he's produced something that's nice, sharp, clean build and everything else like that. So well done to him on that one. Sorry, bottom down to here. So Paul's been working on the snap type one and bringing it right up to speed. Okay, so as I said, usual thing with this one, I think it's going to get completely out of the box and everything else like that. A lot of Steinel rares, black and white, tyres done, tyre black, orange, yellow, 80k extreme metal base, and chrome work for the aluminium, trailer floor, etc. Okay, as he said, it's a snap kit that goes together really, really well, and that's a big old lump once it's done. Christ knows how big my other one's going to be. What's that, 1/12? 1/16? Crikey, I'm going to need a bigger shelf. Well done for that one, Paul, fantastic. Another bike up, as I say, loads of bikes today. Takes up from the Armour guys. The Armour guys are slacking. Okay, John's done an amazing job on his 1/12 scale Yamaha RD 350. Lovely in the yellow, beautiful looking thing. Nice dry brushing on the saddle as well, just give it that little bit of depth and everything else. Nicely jobbed, getting the decals to lay in there as well. Okay, if you ever get it where you get the little bit up there, I found on mine, couple of coats of lacquer, bury it. Beautiful job on that one, really, really nice, right the way over. As I say, it's nice to see the bikes, I do like the bikes. Okay, Terry, sorry Terry, I didn't get back to you because I was waiting to hear back from somebody who spoke to me about this as well, okay? But I was talking the other week about how it'd be nice to see civil stuff, JCBs of the like, you know, and in this case Hitachi, Case, all the big, you know, earth-moving gear, okay? And he has done this one, okay? So I didn't even know they did this, to be honest. But he's done a great job on this one, on the civil gear and everything else. And as he said, it goes together really, really well. No problems at all with it. And it's something a little bit different, okay? And as you can see, some nice details in that. Nice painting job on it and everything else on the one. So well done, Terry. That one really is something very, very nice, I must admit. Something I'd like to do. Okay, what do we got up next? Dan. Here we go, ATST. Fantastic job on that one, really nice. I love the base as well, really sets them off. And the lighting effect as well, everything really works well together. The weathering down here on the feet, as you can see, absolutely fantastic. And Smart Ass has got a cracking case for it as well. See, I need something like that. Very good, love it, fantastic work. And again, Henrik, sorry, is it Henrik? Herman, sorry, I knew the H was for something. Okay, fantastic job on C3PO and R2D2. Okay, complete with the arm. Beautiful job. Just showing you don't have to go for that mirror chrome look. It looks great with this flat arm, but we love the weathering job. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice. Nicely weathered and everything else done like that. Gives it that weighted look. Okay, so he's done an absolutely amazing job on that one. So well done to him. Okay, Robert, been doing the old Gundam. Again, fantastic with the little display base as well, so we can do it in flight poses as well. Gonna have to give him a go, you know. Well done to him, fantastic. Yeah, watch this space. I'm gonna have to do one at some point because everyone keeps going on about it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it as far as I think. I don't think we've got anything else this week. We are pretty much up to date as everything you see around there. Okay, so that's it for this week. Join us tomorrow, please. Love to have you join us on the actual live show and everything else like that. As I say, 9 till 11 British summertime as we are now. We're on air. You can come and join us like that. And then obviously I'll be back with you on Monday, where we're going to be carrying on with the Halifax. To be honest, I'm going to get that deckled up, maybe even over the weekend. And to be honest, I pushed on a little bit with the airliner as well, so that is all ready for deckling now. It's had a complete polish over, and I've had to redo the engines, and I've glossed the engines because I've had a bit of trouble with those and everything else like that. Okay, so thanks for joining us, and I'll catch you all next week.